I found a folder with your name on it at Harlan Richards' place. It contained the report of a police investigation into a fire at the house of a man named Richard Atkins, in which he allegedly burned to death. You were witnessed running out of the house, were treated at the hospital for smoke inhalation, questioned by the police, and later released. The official determination was that the fire was accidental and was caused by a cigarette that was left burning, and the case was closed. But that wasn't all. There was another report in the folder by a private investigator who claimed that the original police document was a cover-up.
I don't understand.
It was this man's contention that the original investigating officer was paid off to suppress evidence, and that the fire was, in fact, deliberately set.
Set by whom?
By you. And further, this man contended that the deceased, Mr. Atkins, was already dead when the fire started.
Already dead? How could that be?
He'd been shot. This private investigator claims that a gun was found outside the house near the point where you were picked up after you ran out, that this gun had been fired, and that there were fingerprints on it.
Whose were they?
Well, according to this report, they were yours.
No, that's not possible. He was not shot. I could never touch a gun in my life. You know that.
Yes, Mama. Did you know a man named Richard Atkins then? Why don't you tell me exactly what happened here? Mama, will you look at me, please? Did you know this man? Were you in this man's house?
I tried to save him, but he was too heavy. I couldn't move him, so I went out and tried to get help, but it was too late.
So that's why you were running from the scene?
Yes. Oh, God, help me. I saved myself, but I couldn't save him.
Please, you have to tell me exactly what you told the police.
No, I didn't set that fire. I would die first before I kill anybody. Look at you. Can it be that my own son doesn't believe me?
No, I'm just trying to put the pieces together here. When I saw your name on that report, I didn't know what to think.
Please, just tell me you don't believe I killed anybody.
The fact that I don't believe you killed anybody is beside the point. Evidence like that is it's very troubling.
Oh, how can they say they found my fingerprints?
Well, they must have falsified that. I don't know what else to think.
Why? Why would somebody want to call me a murderer? I told the police everything. The case was closed.
Okay, look, I'm going to find out how this happened and why. I'm not going to let it touch you, so there is no need for you to be frightened, okay?
Of course I'm frightened. The worst day of my life brought back like this. Cruz, I can still smell the fire, the heat on my skin.
Who was Richard Atkins?
Just a man. An acquaintance, somebody I knew a very short time.
And how did you happen to be in his house?
Can't remember.
You don't?
All I remember is the smoke burning my eyes so that I could barely see him lying there on the floor. I took his arms and I dragged him towards the door. But I don't know what went after. Of course, remember that time I had the car accident and they asked me where I was going and I couldn't remember? The crash scared me so badly that the whole day just went out of my head. Well, the same thing happened with the fire.
Well, I can understand that a trauma can affect your memory sometimes, Mama, but if you knew this man, it seems to me you should be able to remember why you might have been in his house.
No. He was a friend of my sister's. That's how I met him.
Uh-huh. So you weren't close to him?
Of course, I already told you. I only knew him a very short time. What's the use of going over this over and over again? It's over. The man's dead.
Okay, I'm trying to find out if you have any idea why this report would be in Harlan Richards' hands.
Of course not. I don't even know this Harlan Richards. All I know is that he's the man who's the father of the girl Rick was seeing, the man Rick was working for.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just trying to figure this out. No, it's no secret that I believe Harlan Richards has something to do with Rick's disappearance, probably because Rick knows something Richards doesn't want him to know. And I have been leaning on Richards pretty hard, so maybe he thought he could doctor this report and use it to get me to back off.
Yeah, but they're all lies. I didn't kill anybody.
Well, you know that, and I know that, but it doesn't really matter, does it? If he releases it, it's going to be very ugly. You're going to have to answer to the press. Certainly there's going to be insinuations that you're trying to cover something up.
Can they arrest me? After all this time?
I seriously doubt that it would come to that.
Yeah, but if it does... What could happen?
Well, I don't know exactly, but as incriminating as this evidence is, we're going to have to find some way of disproving it, obviously.
How?
You will leave that to me. First thing I got to do is find out whether Richards is really going to use it.
I can't believe this is happening.
Well, nothing has happened yet. But Mama, I'm going to need you to think about that fire a little bit, you know. I know it's painful, but the more you can recall, the better prepared we'll be if Richards decides to pull something. So you're going to have to stop and think about this Richard Atkins, maybe, huh? A little bit about your relationship with him. Any details you can come up with will be helpful, even if you think they're unimportant.
I'll try.
Hey, come on. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. You know that.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I hope I didn't catch you reading.
Oh, just a few minutes. Let's our table and we'll sit down.
Okay.
Did you ever talk with your mother?
Yeah, I did.
Sweetie?
She's very upset, but I don't see how I could have avoided asking her about what I found.
Then maybe it's time to now tell me what you saw in the file.
Accusations. Some trumped-up investigator's report that says my mother's fingerprints were found on a gun that killed a man named Richard Atkins more than 20 years ago. You ready for that? You remember the killer?
Why would he have a file like this?
Well, my guess is he acquired it when I started asking too many questions about Rick. The fact of the matter is she was at the scene of a fire where this Atkins man was found dead, and Richards knows about that somehow and seized on that incident and is trying to blow it up into some kind of potential scandal.
Does she admit to being at the fire?
Yeah. She says she tried to save him, tried to pull him out of his house, but couldn't. The police investigated and called it an accident and closed the case. Now, Richards has gotten someone to generate phony documentation of this supposedly suppressed evidence that escaped the original investigation. It's persuasive.
Well, who is this man to her? This man whose life she tried to
It's
save?
Richard Atkins? I don't know. She couldn't say exactly. Or more to the point, she wouldn't say what he meant to her.
That's really disturbing. What I don't understand is why Harlan Richards would want to have information like that on her.
Yeah. Begs question. Oh, what do you know? Looks like I may get the chance to find out. You want to drink a toast with me, baby?
Look, you've had enough.
You want to drink a toast with me, Eden, or not?
I know how upset you are, but this is not solving anything.
Will you keep your voice down, please? No one's twisting your arm. I'll drink myself. Rick, this is to you, pal. Wherever you are, I know you're out there. I'm going to bring you back. As God is my witness, I'm going to find you and bring you back, my brother.
Look, I think we should just go home.
Excuse me.
Come on.
I want to say hello to a friend of mine first. Will you sit down, please? Thank you. Mr. Richards, would you care to have a drink with me?
I don't think so.
Oh, come on, just a quickie one. Just run to one of your former associates, Rick Castillo. You know him, my brother. He's gone now. He's not forgotten.
May I suggest that you rejoin your wife, Inspector? She looks a little lonesome.
Talking about my brother. There's some people in this town may have forgotten about him.
Excuse me, how long ago did the lad disappear? I've lost track.
Oh, that's true. When the lad disappeared, Mr. Richards.
Now listen, Castillo. I told you to back off. Now, I am telling you to back off, and that means you do not interrupt me when I'm having dinner with my wife on the pretext that you're drinking. It also means that you don't try to charge me with something you can't prove because you don't have anybody else to blame. Maybe, if you were a better cop, you'd have your answers and you could leave me.
Listen, man. Case, and I will. You'll have more peace than you know what to do with. Well, he wouldn't drink.
Надеюсь, после этого он не достанет до...
Лучше
Hell of a fire-up. Shouldn't have. Didn't. Let's get out of here, huh?
Oh, I have to say a few words to Charlie Burgess before I leave, darling. Is that all right? We're going to discuss the regional puddle championships. Did you know that we were going to...
No, I didn't realize.
I'll see you at home later. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you are.
I wasn't looking where I was going.
Are you all right?
Thank you.
What was that about?